In case of submerged welding, that welding process will be discovered in 1935 by Jones, Kennedy and Rutherford. Okay, that welding joining metals generally, that is also heat will be generated due to creation of the arc between metal plate and electrode, and due to creation of the heat between that to the electrode, that will help to melt the conjugal electrode, and also sometimes it will melt the metals also, parent metals also, and that melting metal helps to join the two plates. And also we use some granular flux material, that sometimes conjugal electrode coated with some granular flux coating, and when the electrode will be melted, at that time flux material, that granular flux material also melted, and it will create one layer on the welding zone, and it will help to prevent the reaction with oxygen. Okay, this process used in pipe welding, long pipe welding, we have used that submerged arc welding. Also electrical poles, turbines and extra some others applications, we have used that submerged arc welding process. What are the main equipments or main parts of that submerged arc welding? First one, conjugal electrode, power source, granular flux, base material, electrode holder. That are the main parts of that submerged arc welding. Now, first conjugal electrode. Using that conjugal electrode, we hold that conjugal electrode to the electrode holder, and during welding time it will be consumed due to creation of the arc. Okay, or due to creation of the arc between metal plate and electrode, sometimes we additionally hold the electrode, and it will be easily consumed due to creation of the arc, and it will be accumulated or deposited across the welding zone. Then it will solidify and join the two metal surfaces. Means the conjugal electrode is the electrode which has having current on it, and when it's touching to the workpiece, it gets melt. Means we throw the current through the sometimes conjugal electrode. Sometimes as a electrode holder we use the conjugal electrodes, and when we passes current through the electrode, the heat will be generated to the electric tip, and to the electric tip, due to generation of the heat, the electrode metal will be melted, and it will be deposited across the welding surface or welding point. Power source is provide the heat. Power source provide the current, and that current will flow through the conjugal electrode. Okay, and due to flow of good amount of current, that will creates the arc between the workpiece and electrode. Okay, and due to continuous flow of the current to that electrode, it will create the heat to the electric tip, and also when take to nearby the metal plate, the arc will be created, and due to creation of the arc, the conjugal electrode will be melted. Okay, means power source supply the current for creation of the arc between metal plate and electrode. Granular flux also sometimes coated with that electrode holder, and that granular flux and conjugal electrode consumed during welding time, and that creates one layer on that particular welding surface, and it will help to protect from the reaction with oxygen. Means to avoid the accident heat, and also generate when electrodes touch to the workpiece. Sometimes also avoids or protects from the exceeding heat also. Base metals means we want to weld on that particular metal surface. Okay, what are the metal? Low alloy steel, carbon steels, maybe structural or vessel construction, stainless steel, nickel based alloy. We have used that type of material for welding purpose using submerged arc welding. Electrode holder. Electrode holder is used to hold the consumable electrode. The main works are to hold the electrode. This device is some non-conductor device. Means electrode holder is a non-conductor device. It helps to hold the electrode. Now, working process of the submerged arc welding. Now we have seen that here. That is the granular from hopper. Means granular flux we have supplied through that particular hopper. Okay. And that is the travel directions. That is the travel directions. Means in that directions we are doing the welding operation. That is the base material. That is the molten flux. Means that is the consumable electrode. Sometimes consumable electrode also we use some consumable granular flux coating also sometimes. But here we are do not use any granular flux coating electrode. Directly granular flux will be provided feeding through the hopper. Okay. And sometimes vacuum systems is used for recovery of the granular flux. That vacuum systems helps to for recovery of the granular flux and blanket of the granular flux. When we have created the arc between that metal plate and electrode, the arc will be created, and due to creation of the arc, that consumable electrode will be consumed, and that metal, parent metal will be create the molten metal. That parent metal will be created the molten metal, and also consumable electrode also consumed. Then after that sometimes the solidify weld surface will be created. That type of solidify weld surface will be created. Okay, and that screen is that zone shows the slack, means solidified flux. That solidified flux helps to avoid the exceeding of the heat generation and also helps to protect from the reaction with oxygen. If it will react to that particular molten metal, creates the oxides, means creates the rusting, and due to creation of the rusting, the weld quality will be deteriorates. Means continuous that electrode will be traveled to that particular directions, and a slack skin will be created, and in that way we do the welding operations. Means submerged, means welding zone fully submerged by the granular flux. Okay, submerged means here the welding zone, welding phase fully submerged by the using granular flux. That's why it is called submerged arc welding. Now, above diagram shows the arc welding operations, and the base metal, here base metal connected to the negative energy source and electrode connected to the positive source. Okay. Now, some devices granular flux is fixed with the consumable electrode, and sometimes in case of submerged arc welding, the granular flux will be supplied through the hopper. When we switch on the power supply, at that time we will bring the electrode near the metal plates, and when we will bring near to the metal plates, to start the welding with the help of electrode holder, sometimes we touch the metal plate, means sometimes at that time arc will be generated, means we are testing, means it will working or not. Then we withdrawn the metal plate from that particular metal plate to a particular distance, about we considering that is the 3 mm distance, maintaining distance 3 mm, near about 3 mm. It is very difficult to maintain exact distance, it is very difficult. So just we take some particular distance from that particular metal plate. Okay. Then between that particular metal plate, a spark will be generated. Spark means arc will be generated, means globules will be generated between that electrode and metal plate, and that helps to melt the electrode, and then electrode will be consumed, and molten metal will be created to that particular weld surface. Then it will help to weld to that particular welding zone, and at that time granular flux also melted, and it will create the some coating, means layer will be formed on that particular weld zone, and it will help to avoid the or prevent from the reaction with oxygen. Then After welding operation is finished, completed, then we use some chipping hammer. Using chipping hammer, we remove the granular flux. Because if we kept that, the quality of the weld surface, it is very bad. So we using chipping hammer, we remove the granular flux. Then using the brush fully, we clean the welding zone. And also after that, we using the naked eye, normally we see that welding zone. Submerged arc welding application. So for which metals we have done the welding using that process? Now first one, carbon steel, structural steel or vessel. Carbon steel has been used for structural and vessel construction. Low alloy steels, stainless steels, electrical poles, wind turbine pipes, nickel based alloy, and surface application like wire facing, build up and corrosion resistance steels. In that cases, we have used the submerged arc welding process. What are the advantages of that particular welding process? First one, the high deposition rate, and in that particular already have shown that in manual metal arc welding, the low deposition rate and low welding speed. That's why it is low productivity. It has high deposition rate, 45 kg per hour. So that due to that thing, that process is highly productive. Another, higher operating factors, means high operating factors in mechanized applications, means it has higher deposition rates. Due to that thing, we have done number of welding operations in that particular process. Another, deep weld penetrations. Also using that arc, we creates the penetration depth higher. We create the penetration depth higher, and also do the welding up to some particular higher depth also. Then sound welds, mean very good quality welding has been done in that particular welding operations. Another, high speed welding of thin sheets up to 5 meter per minute easily possible. Means using that submerged arc welding process, we can do the welding up to thin sheet up to 5 meter per minute. Per minute we have done the welding up to 5 meter. Means highly productive process, that welding process. Another, minimum welding fume, means here created fume is very less. Due to that's why that is also very economical point of view in that cases. Another, practically no edge preparations, means before welding no edge preparation is required. Means some cleaning, some particular edge will be prepared, edge will be cleaned, then you remove that part. That type of things is not required in that case of welding process. That is also from economical point of view, that is also very good in that welding process. Another, this process is suitable for both indoor outdoor, means using that process we do the welding, means inside and also outside of the construction, or for welding some other internal features or external features also we have done the welding using that process easily. Well produced or sound, means already I have told that welding produce the very high quality, good quality welding. That's why that is also very good welding operation. Single pass weld can be made in thick plates, means here using that submerged arc welding process we use the very higher penetration depth. Due to creation of the higher penetration depth, the in one pass of that welding creates very good welding operations. Another, the arc alloy cover under a blanket of the flux, means already I have told that is the submerged arc welding. Submerged means the welding operation will be submerged by the granular flux. Okay, that's why any oxide will not form to the molten metal. That's why the weld quality of that particular welding is very good. Another, 50 to 90% of the flux will be recoverable and recycled and reused. Means after welding operation again we have used that flux. That's why that is also very economical issues in that welding operations. Means 50 to 90% of the flux again we have reused. What are the disadvantages of that arc welding process? First one, limited to ferrous metals. Means only we use that submerged arc welding only ferrous alloy. Means maybe steels or stainless steels. Okay. Sometimes some nickel based alloy also we have used. Means some non-ferrous metals it is not possible for welding. Normally limited to long straight seams or rotated pipes or vessels. Means sometimes also it will be used for long straight seams. Means long there is no joints to that particular point, particular welding operation. Means it will be used long straight seams or rotated pipes or vessels. We have used that welding operations. And also flux slag residue can present at health and safety concern. Sometimes flux also means that is the submerged welding, and we use the flux material, granular flux material may be remaining to that welding operations. That thing maybe creates the health hazards. That is also one main disadvantage of that particular process. Requires interpass and post weld slag removal. Means when, because that is the submerged welding, means welding operation has been done below the granular flux, and the one slag or one skin, means one extra flux slag skin layer will be formed, and due to creation of that slag layer we will be removed using chipping hammer and using some iron brass. So due to that thing, that is also one time consuming process, and that is also uneconomical issue in that particular process also. Requires backing strips for proper root penetrations. Means sometimes we have used some proper backing strips we have used for proper root penetrations. Means create for root to that particular welding zone or create the particular depth. Sometimes we have used some backing strips also. Another, restricted to high thickness materials. Means that type of welding generally we have done to that particular high thickness. Means low thickness material welding using that process, that is also very difficult. Using that process we have done the high thickness materials it is used. Submerged arc welding. That is the submerged arc welding setup. Here that is the hopper is there, that is the vertical movement of that particular electrode, and that is the power supply unit. Here we provide the flux through the hopper, and through the hopper flux will become through that particular hopper, and here electrode is there, and electrode creates the arc between metal and electrode, and mean inside the flux material the welding operation has been done. That is the flux powder, and that is the electrode. Means it will create the arc between the metal plate and electrode, and it will done the welding operations. Means continuous process is going on. Means that welding has been done below the granular flux material. In that way we have done the welding operations, maybe circular car plates or maybe horizontal plate. That is the completed weld zone.